She makes me feel I've lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are here ready to entertain the hell out of you. That's all I got to say. But I hope you're ready to be entertained. If I'm doing my job, that's exactly what's going to happen. But I don't have to do this job alone because I have my good friend and co-host sitting right next to me, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Hi.
Whenever you get around to it.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm being personable with the people in chat.
Oh, well, sure. That's.
I just found out why they called Chris Jarvis Cookie.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay. Didn't know that. So, good evening.
How you doing, Don?
Happy hump day.
Happy hump day. Oh, you know what? I
What?
forgot this. I got to do the chat thing. That's what I forgot.
Hump day.
Hump day.
Yeah, it's been a long day, I tell you. It's been crazy.
But crazy is kind of the new normal, Don.
Yeah, apparently so.
Crazy is the new normal, so.
So, hi everyone in chat. Nice to see you on this beautiful-ish
You
Wednesday
seem to be
evening.
sitting like lower.
Yeah, no, it's actually.
Did you forget
it's
your
the
phone book?
camera. Well, that's what happens when you're only 5'1".
That's what happens when you're short. No, I'm just kidding.
It's my camera seems to be a little tall tonight.
It does, and that's kind of my fault because I actually had to borrow that tripod, and so it's kind of my fault. But we can adjust that, ladies and gentlemen, and
Well, here, let me fix that.
scale the long beard. Oh, don't do that. There you go. That's probably about right there. Yeah, now you're sitting up.
Sweet.
You're sitting up proud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 hours of fun waiting for you on the threshold here. But it's a beautiful day. No, it's not. It's cold and crappy here, but
You reeled that one back.
it's beautiful in my heart because I'm always happy to come back on the Wednesdays and do these shows. The Mondays and Tuesdays are awesome to get things done, but I really do miss doing the show. So it's really nice to get back into the saddle here and start marching down the trail. So I guess without further ado, I hope you're all ready because we're going in. All right, we are back at it, and I guess it's now official. If you have anything paranormal of your very own that you'd like to talk with us about tonight on the show, you certainly can. The call-in number is 720-923-0500. So 720-923-0500 is the number for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal, and we'll be waiting for your call. That's weird. This kind of froze up. Look at that. Oh, there it goes. Now it's finally moving. Wow. Okay. That's strange. But I guess it's rolling.
Welcome to the portal.
It's over 100 here today. Oh, Wonder Woman.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Where is that? Where are you, Kathy?
We'll split it with you. Oh, geez.
It has been really a cool spring, beginning of summer, right here in the Pacific Inland Northwest. Okay, Brent, if you truly feel that way, you owe us 4 hours. What? I don't know.
Maybe 2 from Monday, Tuesday, and 2 from Monday, Tuesday last week.
Oh, so you want me to make good on the times missed, like I have makeup work ahead of me.
I say overtime.
Well, trust me that even on those days that I'm not doing the show, I am working on the show and working on things that are going to benefit the show. What I'm also doing, and I've been working on this, we received from our wonderful friend Taco sent us a plasma cut Paranormal Portal on a sign, and I'm working on mounting that, and I'll be redesigning the backdrop here on the show. But it's just epic. I mean, the thing that he made is just incredible. So it's just a pretty significant piece of rendering. So I got to make sure to hang it well, because it's literally like 16th inch, 8th inch steel.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's like
it doesn't bend. Trust me.
I'm pretty sure it's bulletproof. Is what I'm going to say. But it's awesome.
Powder coated. Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
it is
so
awesome.
that's from our buddy Taco Violator, who sent that out to us. It's powder coated, like you said. It's beautiful, and it's going to be backlit. And against the wall, it's just really neat. So I'm trying to get that all finalized. I'm not necessarily a construction guy, so this is.
He could swing a hammer, put a hole in a wall.
I can swing a hammer, but if you had nails, then we got problems. So I'm working on that. I'm working on a bunch of things, actually, just tons of things, and we're gearing up for next weekend. A week from this Friday,
yes,
we will be in Coloma, Montana, with the Duke. We're going to be hanging out with the Duke up there. Our good friend Duke Sullivan of World Bigfoot Radio. Perhaps you've heard of him. No, of course you have. We got to shut down bars again here in Michigan. Per our governor. Me and your governor in Michigan is all kinds of funky. I'll just say that. Gonna roll out the cha-cha game. And she in here. Hang on to your hat.
That's okay. We can always do the portal game. Every time somebody says paranormal or portal.
Yeah. If you hear that, that's shot time at the bar.
Time.
I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what's going on. I mean, obviously.
It's crazy.
Obviously, I mean, life has to continue. We can't just live in bubbles. People can't survive in bubbles. I'm not trying to get political here, but my God, it's a terrible thing. It really is. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, people have to be able to make a living, and they have to be able to provide for their families.
Right.
As scary as it is, it's like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm not trying to get political again, but there's a lot of things I just don't understand in today's world right now. I'm really confused. I'm really, not the most informed person either. So I'm not making any, real hardcore statements here, but just suffice it to say that it's a strange world right now. It just really is. So that's why I love the paranormal, because it allows me to get into a whole different world.
Yep.
So I guess that's what we should do, huh, Don?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, said the Longbeard. So here's a weird case of a disappearance, apparently.
Oh.
This is coming from anomalies.com, and that's anom and then alien, one word, .com. And it's an article on here. It says, in Moscow, a man went to his apartment and mysteriously disappeared. So let's see what this has to say. I don't know. I'm sure they must be pretty sure that something went sideways, because, it's not just like, hey, he used the back door instead. No, it's not quite that easy.
The stairs, fell down the elevator shaft.
Yeah. A very strange story full of mystery happened the other day in the city of Kashira, Moscow region. An old man mysteriously disappeared there. It says at the same time, a video surveillance camera was installed on this stairwell, which recorded that the man entered the apartment and did not leave it. However, when the son of the missing person entered the apartment, he found that no one was there. According to Moscow region today, the last time Sergei Pankratov, wow,
Nice
I did
job.
pretty good.
Nice job. Yeah.
Pankratov, the missing person, spoke with his son on April 12th. His son, Leah Pankratov, says that it was Palm Sunday and that his father went to church that day, took communion. He was a very religious person and didn't drink alcohol and didn't smoke. All that day, Ilya talked with his father through a messenger, and around midnight, they said goodbye and went to bed, after which Ilya's father did not get in touch anymore. On Monday morning, Ilya, as usual, sent his father a message, "Good morning," but it turned out to be unread, and subsequent messages as well. The alarmed son began to call his father on the cell phone, but nobody answered. On Tuesday, Ilya decided to come to his father from Moscow to Kashira. Apparently, no one answered the doorbell either, so Ilya opened his father's apartment door with the key that he had. He found that his father's smartphone was lying on the couch, that the computer and crockpot were turned on, but there was nobody in the apartment itself. At the same time, Ilya especially emphasizes that his father always turned off electrical appliances when he left the apartment. The strangest thing was that when Ilya looked at the recording from the surveillance camera that he once installed in front of the door to his father's apartment, on the night of April 13th, Sergei left the apartment somewhere, but returned to it at about 4 a.m. and closed the door behind him and did not go outside at all anymore. In the apartment, Ilya discovered that his father's black backpack, jeans, gray jacket, and baseball cap were all missing. His father was in these clothes and with his backpack when he returned to his apartment. The version that Sergei Pankratov could get out the window is not even considered. He lived high enough that the windows were tightly closed. At the same time, Ilya assures that his father was in excellent physical condition and mental health. According to Ilya, the police are now investigating the strange disappearance, but they too cannot yet understand what happened. They said that it seems that Dad went to the apartment and immediately dematerialized, says Ilya. Well, that's a weird stance for the police to take. They don't usually use that as a disappearance.
Wow.
We're going to have to chalk this up to dematerialization, see?
Wow.
It appears he went into the apartment and evaporated. He evaporated. That's strange. Very strange. But I don't know. Could there be some weird, could it be an abduction? Sure. Could be an abduction. Could it be foul play? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if he's got a camera on the door and nobody else came and went,
that doesn't make any sense.
that doesn't make any sense to me either.
Holds no water, kind of like my head.
Well, that's not what I understand, but
That's why your eyes are blue. You got all that water trapped in there.
mm-hmm. Slosh. No, but I think that's an interesting story.
It is, yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Don? Can people just dematerialize?
What if when he put his key in the lock, unlocked the door, opened the door, and he didn't actually look into his apartment, but he took a step in, and it was actually a portal to nowhere?
Mm-hmm. See, that's what I'm going for. Since this is the paranormal portal,
yeah,
I'm thinking portal's probable. I think it's probable.
That's 4 for drinks, by the way.
That's in shot terms.
In shots, yes.
Yeah, although Cha-Cha's here now, so she can.
Yeah, she seems to be. She causes a lot of the drinking, apparently. Take that one.
It's an uppercut. And Longbeard lines the uppercut. Yeah. Oh, that's a pretty cool story, though.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That is a good one. So, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but here's another example. Now, we oftentimes talk about the David Pallady's Missing 411.
Right.
I did catch that, by the way. Finally, on YouTube, they have the Missing 411 documentary that they put together, and it's very interesting. It's really kind of tragic to hear those stories reenacted and replayed, though. It's really disturbing. I think I got done with that documentary just feeling like, "Ugh, what's going on?" And I'd always wondered that, but when you see it portrayed and see things acted out, hear the discussion of the people that are talking about this strange events. Now, there are some missing 411s that David Politis has covered that have taken place in urban areas.
Right.
It's not just state parks, it's not just forests and wildlands. That people have been known to disappear, like right outside of a bar. Somebody was just outside a bar door and boom, was gone. People followed them out
Right.
and the person wasn't there. And then days or days or week later, the body's found in a pond not far away with no shoes, or something like that. That was one of his cases that I
Yeah,
remember
something
hearing.
kind of odd. Yeah.
But it does also, these anomalies also do happen in urban areas. I don't know. This is very much inside of somebody's house though, so it's a little different. I don't know if there are similar ones. I haven't read the Missing 411 books to know, but I would be interested in if anybody out there has read the Missing 411 books. Has people in his case studies, has anybody just gone into their apartment or home and just disappeared, never to be seen again?
Cashew Gesundheit says, reminds me of Brian Schaefer, the med student, seen on video entering the Ugly Tuna Saloon in Columbus, Ohio, disappeared with no footage showing him leaving. Yeah, I remember that video. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. I mean, that's just kind of the really strange, creepy, weird stuff. And I don't know. I guess if it can happen in the woods, it can happen anywhere because it's not because it's the woods.
Right.
Space is space is space.
Right.
Wherever these weird things are happening, these weird anomalies, and I always assume that it's some kind of vortex or portal or something where maybe it's just dimensional things, because we've talked about how many stories, Don, where people like make a turn and they're in a different time,
Right.
or they see themselves in the future. Suddenly there's
Right.
these strange cars and buildings they don't even recognize, and then they turn and go back and they're fine. It's like they find the exit before it disappears
Right.
in those cases, and that's when these people are like, what? I will say that in Liverpool, England, that's one of the famous streets there that has happened to a number of people where they've suddenly been back in time, like 50 years ago or more, and they see old shops that are no
Right.
longer there, and then they'll kind of back up and it's normal. So I don't know. Maybe there's just these weird bubbles that happen in our reality and where the strange stuff occurs.
Well, if you're going with the idea of quantum physics and dimensions, when those dimensions start to flutter, and they touch, I mean, it creates waves. So it happens in different times and areas. Just it seems at random for the most part. So
Sure.
like a bubble can pop up here, and then a bubble can pop up
Yeah.
in London, wherever,
Sure.
just wherever that veil touches,
Mhm.
and you're able to cross over. But you would think that veil it'd be a blink. You just blink, you're somewhere else. How the hell do you get back?
I know.
So
I would just go reverse. Whatever happened, I'd just back up.
This isn't right.
Just right straight backwards. Whatever the hell. I just go back.
2 steps forward, 5 backwards.
No, we've brought that up before, though. What would you do? Let's say, okay, for an instance, you turned a corner, suddenly you're, 80 years ago in history.
Right.
What would you do? Would you explore, or would you be like, nope, I'm out of here?
I'd probably go with better choices of women to be with in my life. It's kind of funny though, because if you think about like the movie Avengers Endgame in the books, in the movies at least, Captain America goes back in time, and instead of and taking back the different Infinity Stones to where they belong, instead of coming back to his time though, he ended up back with Agent Peggy Carter.
Right.
And spent a lifetime with
her.
Agent Carter.
Yep.
So, I mean, if it's a choice, honestly, sometimes I think, would it be a better 80 years ago? It was 1920s. Oh my gosh, the roaring 20s. That was 100 years ago. So it'd be 40s. It'd be the 40s.
The 40s, World War II era.
Right. You know what? I'd be right back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but it just kind of a length of time that I went backwards. You know, it was an easier time. You know, I'm a bright young fella, ish, and young-ish fella. You know, I mean, it would probably be easier. I would miss the people I
Of course.
I'm with, you know, and around. You know, I miss the show.
Damn
Hey,
right you
would
would.
you believe me if I said in like 40 years we were gonna be able to do this and that, and I'm kind of half famous. Not really, but ish. You know, so I mean, and don't bet on the Dodgers.
Yeah, ever. Or the Vikings. No, I don't know. I think I'd be really intrigued. Like
I would, yeah.
to look around.
I would too. Yeah, if I had some time and like knew where my next gate back to the future is, you know, then yeah, I might give it a look around. You know, one of Art Bell's things was he really wanted to figure out how to do time travel.
Oh.
That was his whole thing. That wasn't his whole thing. That was his major interest, was time travel.
Sure.
And being able to go back in time and meet ancestors and you know, spend time with people, you know, and get some, you know, some of that good, you know, memory time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's one of those things that does intrigue me. I would love to be able to do that. Maybe go back and talk to like a great grandpa or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, experience some time before, but if I and come back, I would love to do that. I mean, because I'm kind of a history buff anyhow. You know, I'm kind of half history, half garbage. But anyhow, you know, so I mean, that would be really cool to be able to do that. I would love it. I really would. As long as I didn't pop up in like, you know, Gettysburg in 1864.
Right.
I'll pass on that. Thanks. So,
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, there's some things, of course, that have happened historically that would be absolutely
yes.
horrifying. And, you know, it's bad enough to read about them, much less witness them. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that those things do happen. I really do. Like, there's just too many strange things going on and too many things that people report. And I know that not every claim is valid. I know that. But again, I have to defer to my one statement. If only 1% of all the reports are true, then something really incredible is going on out there. You know, I mean, even if only 1% of you know, the thousands and thousands of claims that people make, then something incredible is happening in our reality. And even if 1/10 of 1% are valid, you know, if only one is valid, then still.
Apparently, our Cha-Cha decided to chime in and said, if I could time travel, I'd go back to 1992 and tell myself not to get that perm.
Do not get that perm.
Don't skip it. It's gonna make you look like you're from the early '80s. So you got the bump up bangs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see a picture.
I go back and slap that mullet off my head.
What are you thinking? Blah!
There's no party in the back.
Oh my.
No, I did have a mullet though, by the way, just for the record.
Oh my God. So
there's
when I got out and actually started, you know, renting an apartment, oh, it was a business in the front, party in the back. I probably would say don't get that perm too. I had in the 80s, I had this long, beautiful blonde hair, and now I have like mostly a bald head. I kind of miss it. I'm going for the skullet.
Did you had a perm?
Yeah. Somebody talked to me. Hey, you know, it'd look good if you got a perm in the back there. I'm like, okay.
Are there photos out there anywhere?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, right.
Hell no.
You know there's photos out there.
No, hell no.
That's our new quest, ladies and gentlemen, to find the long beard.
Long beard with a perm.
Or if I can't find him, I can fabricate.
I know how to Photoshop.
I can Photoshop, ladies and gentlemen. We can.
That one's fake. That one's fake. Now that is explaining the impossible.
Yeah,
or at least we're examining it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, time travel is always a fun thing to talk about.
Ryan with the venomous fringe is in the house.
Yeah.
Well, how you doing?
How you doing, Ryan?
Welcome, Ryan. Good to
That's
see
right,
you.
I did
Thanks
see
for
him. Yeah,
stopping by.
Tremblay, yeah.
Thank you for
yep,
coming
yep.
by, and I hope you enjoy the festivities. This is about as good as it gets. Just for the this is about it. So I hope you're not expecting much, but no, we have a good time here. We have a really good time, and we enjoy our community for sure.
Yes.
But always welcome more. Always welcome more. So
Oh my God, Annie M says I had a perm once. Literally looked like little orphan Annie. I just needed a little brown dog named Sandy. Awesome.
Oh,
So apparently Cha Cha's brought this on.
yeah. Thank you, Cha Cha, for influencing the direction of the portal.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, let's go on to a cryptid deal here.
Sure, cryptid.
And this is talking about werewolf sightings in Mexico.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I know, right? Even in Mexico. That's the cool thing about these cryptids is that they don't recognize borders and stuff.
Have
Yeah,
no clue.
they just go wherever they want to go. So this is again coming from anomalies.com, and let's have a listen to what this is all about. It says, "Oh, thank you, Ryan. Awesome, brother. Love the show, guys. You two are an absolute legends."
We're hoping for something like that. Thank you for your vote of confidence.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. So let's go to werewolves. Forget the coronavirus this weekend. Oh God, I'm probably demonetized now. Thank you. The story of a creature that is terrorizing municipality in Chiapas went viral. The inhabitants of Coita, 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 Chiapas, have not been able to peacefully sleep for a few days due to the alleged presence of a werewolf. And this report comes from telehit.com. Twitter user, whatever, relates the way... I don't know what that says. It's Salud Zentero? Okay. Relates the way in which the municipality located 32 kilometers from Tuxtla Gutierrez, the capital of Chiapas, has been kept awake by believing that at night a supernatural creature is prowling, which they seek to hunt. According to the neighbors, the werewolf is 2 meters tall. So that's 6 feet.
Yeah, 6 feet.
That's a good sized werewolf.
Well, 6'6", yeah.
Oh, okay. 6'6".
Yeah.
Okay. Is very agile and even walked on the roofs of the houses. I don't know. Is that supposed to, I'll put that up in a minute.
Oh, footprints.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I will have to get back to that. Some want to kill him. Others want to protect the creature, ensuring that it only wants to eat. Whatever the case, the story has gone viral on social media in the middle of the pandemic. I almost said it again. The werewolf sighting has caused so much stress to its residents that gunshots were reported at night, and the pastor of the local church asked people to place candles outside their homes to calm down. Fire hazards. Let me see. Where does it continue? Here it is. The story of the alleged creature reached the ears of the authorities, so they sent a policeman to patrol the Aguaje area of the Coita Ecological Park. Meanwhile, residents are afraid of a mysterious creature that want to catch or kill it. I don't know. Can you kill it, Don?
I certainly hope so, because I'd hate to meet one. I really, really would.
Oh, let's see. Let's put this picture up. This is the article. There's a couple pictures that are included here. I guess those are claws. Okay. Let's bring it up on camera. So here's the first one. It says, traces of a mysterious creature. That's it. And there's, well, it does look like 4 prints.
Oh, yeah.
So is it not bipedal? Or what's the deal?
Well, maybe it was crouching down to, survey its surroundings.
Crouching werewolf.
Well, the best way to not take a bullet is to lay down. Why not?
Well, those are scratches in the dirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily is quantifiable evidence, but, people are finding stuff like that. I mean, it's 3. This is in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I don't know. Wolves have 4 though, right? Aren't they supposedly have 4
Oh yeah.
toes and claws? Well, are they counted as claws? Not really, are they? They're just like sharper nails. Well,
Well, they're claws. Dogs have claws. Yeah, they have claws.
okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's not a lot to work with here for the sake of the story, but there are reports of cryptids coming all the way down there. South America, of course, has their own batches of cryptids as well as the normal ones. There's Bigfoot's type beings that are reported in South America. I didn't know about the Dogman, but that doesn't surprise me much.
Chupacabra.
Well, the Chupacabra is kind of something different, though, entirely. That's a goat sucker. It's,
Cryptid.
yeah, it's a cryptid. No, I know, but I mean, it's not a Dogman.
Oh.
So it's not like an interchangeable cryptid to a Dogman.
True.
But,
Oh yeah, true. Something that gets mistaken as. Gotcha.
I don't know. They're apparently out there, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful if you're in the Chiapas region. I don't know. There's no follow-up on this either. When was this written? Let me look. April 17th. So it's not an old article
It's only 2 months.
by any measure. So interesting, though. So there's that. Okay.
Oh boy.
There's one from India. There's cryptids all over. There's all kinds of strangeness going on here. This is a mysterious creature knocks on windows and doors at night and sparks panic in India. A mysterious creature causes fear among residents living in the Karakad, North Karakad, Villanur, Aruvaye, Vayi, and Konganur.
Wow.
I did okay, right?
Did you take a hatchet to that?
I probably did. I probably brutalized every one of those names. Areas reports the methrubhumi.com. A lot of people have seen the strange creatures roaming around the region. The creature appears on the rooftops and in the front yards of the houses after 9 p.m.
Wow.
Local residents claim it's a dark shape that is not clearly visible due to darkness, and it frequently causes noise by banging on the doors and windows of the houses. Citizens have been waiting for the last 4 days to see what this creature is, but it's said to be incredibly fast as it jumps over walls and runs from one house to another in a flash. Last night, a group of villagers pursued, but the entity got to the terrace of the house and ran away after sliding down the trunk of a mango tree nearby. Well, just pretty agile. Notwithstanding all the hysteria, no incident or robbery or assault by a supernatural creature has yet been registered. So it just coming and knocking on the windows, just raising some hell and then stopping by. Yeah.
Just here to give you a nightly scare.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Here's your nightly adrenaline. Locals also wonder that if there's a mentally ill guy behind all of this. Well, that's probably the most likely cause, but maybe it is creatures. Local people are avoiding the lockdown by attempting to capture the unknown creature, and for this, a complaint has been filed at the at the police station. Another complaint was also filed against a man for causing panic in the area. Officials said the police would increase patrols in the area. It says another complaint was also filed against a man for causing panic in the area, but there's no context to that. That's weird. I don't know. I think it's probably translated from another source, but
But that would be pretty scary. It's like, something knocking on your door and you go to open it and there's some creature walking away.
right.
Like, do they even look back and they give you the evil eye from behind?
Maybe they do.
Hoo-hoo.
Here's an interesting one. This is again from Animalian, and it's apparently happening all over Europe. But dead birds are falling from the sky now. Wasn't there something in the U.S.? Some regions had like dead birds just falling.
Yeah, there was, as a matter of fact. I can't recall where exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another place that elephants are mysteriously dying as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but something totally different. But
That's not good.
no,
Like, is there an elephant flu going around or something?
yeah, the heffalump flu. Who knows?
Oh, flu. Did you say flu nose?
Heffalump.
Oh.
What? I said a flu nose. Who knows? But
Well,
vroom.
mm,
What the hell was that? Wow.
so this is about the dead birds, though. But I remember there has been periods of time where suddenly people will have these birds raining down. Now, I've always assumed that that was something to do with.
Chemtrails.
Well, it could be chemtrails. It could be low frequency,
Right.
like HARP and
HARP
stuff
stuff,
like
yeah,
that. People have theorized HARP.
Doppler.
Oh,
Doppler,
radar.
yeah.
Yeah. If there's a badly tuned radar, that could knock birds out of the sky and kill them. There's all kinds of reasons that could happen, and most of which are just man-made somehow. But let's see what this says. Dead birds began to fall from the sky all over Europe, and no one can explain why this is happening. Dead birds have been found on many streets of Athens and on the Aegean Islands. Maria Gennady from Animal Wildlife Group said, "It is a real disaster." Also, many dead herons were also found near the village of Krepshik. That's what's Keprashik. Keprashik. Okay. This frightened not only local residents, but also officials who do not understand what is happening and why the birds began to die en masse. In Denmark, almost 200 dead ducks were found on the beaches of Losos. The birds were checked for bird flu, but the results were negative. A similar thing happens in some other countries in Europe, but no one can say for sure what the cause of the death of the birds actually was. Some experts think that it's very strong winds that have been observed over the past 3 years have led to the death of a huge number of swifts and swallows that flew to Europe from Africa, but if the birds continue to die, then this version will be erroneous. What's killing the birds in Europe? I think it's, I don't know. Pollution. Could be pollution, too.
Could be. Mr. Richards in the chat says mass die-offs, the mass unknown animal die-offs are worldwide by the millions. He says he's been tracking it for 8 years now.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, well, yeah. You know, we had those whales that beached themselves, a bunch of dolphins that beached themselves too. You know, I'm talking, you know, in the recent past, within the last 5 years or so.
Sure.
You know, then we had that mass amount of jellyfish just throwing themselves up there.
I give up.
I have no reason to live. I have no spine.
Yeah, there's that.
But then, you know, then you got the guy who gives us a thumbs down in the chat, and, you know, they're spineless too. But, you know, and like I mentioned,
Invertebrates.
Invertebrates. They're kind of yummy on the grill with lemon. But, you know, so yeah, I mean, there's been all these die-offs that have been coming along for the last 10 years that I know of, you know. So the question is why? Yeah, I mean, we've talked personally about Doppler before, and how, you know, there are some ideas that Doppler are used to move things around in the sky, and it could create, you know, this. Well, this is kind of me expanding on that idea, but, you know, possibly a die-off. You know, then there's the HARP stuff regarding the whales and the dolphins. You know, so who knows? You know,
Who knows?
Sad.
Well, you know, I don't know. Could it also just be? And this is really spitballing an idea out of nowhere, but you got to wonder with the abundance of civilization and the removal of a lot of natural resources and stuff, could it just be
True, yeah.
just a die-off just because there's too many
we're
of them?
taking them, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how the bird populations are. Are they exploding without the number of predators that maybe they would have had? Kind of like deer, you know? I mean, there's deer everywhere in the U.S. because most of their predators were nearly wiped off the map.
Right.
And so the only predators left are people. And that, of course, is seasonal and you know, that's certainly one reason. But
So you're implying in a way that, you know, Mother Nature is balancing.
maybe, I don't know though. I mean, because the problem is that I don't know. Are there more birds than there were, you know, at some point in history?
Right.
That's the part I don't know. But I don't know. It just seems like nature will always find a balance, all by itself without
Right.
any assistance from us. But with our assistance in changing the balance, then is this the equilibrium?
Right.
Is this some attempt at equilibrium with the new world that we've created with our technology, with our cities and paving roads and changing temperatures? Now, I'm not a big global warming person. Don't get me wrong, but I will say that, I think that we do change the world.
Right.
Well, there's no question that people change the world. We do pollute. It's very rare now in the United States to find an open water that you can drink. When people first started coming here with all of our industry and stuff, you could just go down to any stream and start drinking. I mean, it was just really clear water.
Right.
But that's not the case anymore. So I mean, we are having a pretty profound impact on our world. I don't think it's, I don't know if I agree with all of the hype, but I will say we are leaving a footprint. So does nature have to snap, in really aggressive ways like this to create equilibrium? And I'm not sure how that creates equilibrium, but I just know that the natural cycles seem to be in a state of flux right now.
Right.
The weather's acting wild, whether they are, spraying and screwing that up in the upper atmosphere, or whether it's just our footprints, or whatever. I don't know, but
Cow farts.
it's the dang cow, see?
Them stupid ruminants.
Yeah, exactly. 4 stomachs. What are they thinking? Put them on the grill.
Sounds good.
But I think that we certainly do have an impact on the world, and we've expanded so much and created these spaces that the world never had a balance for.
Right.
Like the pavement is not a part of the natural landscape.
It doesn't exactly naturally create oxygen, does it?
Right, and I think that also is why these sinkholes are appearing, because of this expanse of our world on top of the natural world, and suddenly water is very channeled to run off in a specific way because it has to. It can't just go down gradually in spaces through a whole surface.
Right.
And so that's probably why these sinkholes are appearing, and people's houses are falling into the earth, because it's a side effect of that. And that's me just spitballing another idea, but it just occurred to me now. I don't know. This isn't really the scope of the show, but the thing is that we do see these odd things. I mean, I remember living on the lake back in Minnesota, and up in one of the marinas, there was like hundreds of thousands of fish dead.
Wow.
It's just like all of a sudden. Now, they never did tell us what happened, but to me, it just smelled of a big cover-up. Something got released into the waterway that did this mass kill-off of all these fish, and it was disgusting. I mean, it was like this, where you would see a harbor and a marina. It was just fish.
Oh, just dead fish floating like on top of the water? Ah.
Yeah. So
that's a massive die-off, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's that kind of stuff does happen, and that can account for this. Now, these birds could have, there could have been some bad gases released from some factory somewhere. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas because I don't think that you can ignore those things either. But I don't know. I'm not educated enough on the subject to really probably have any kind of valid opinion. Just ideas. I'm just throwing ideas out there, huh?
Sounds like a plan. I mean, and that's what we need to do. That's how we get these come to hypothesis and these ideas that we try to work through. So
well, sure, right. I mean, well, exactly. We got to spitball ideas. Now, I got another one from Animalian here. I love this site. It's these quick little articles, but they're really things to think about and to talk about, because that's what we do here in the portal. You believe that we're almost done with the first hour already?
What?
It's 7:45.
No way.
Way.
And we actually started on time, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to give a shout out to that second thumbs down. You're spineless too. Welcome to the Squid Tank.
Absolutely. We'll take whatever kind of attention we can get. All right, let's go here. This is quarantine people have begun to have strange dreams. There's a lot of quarantine people in the world.
Yep.
All right.
A lot of strange dreamers too.
Yeah. In social networks, discussions erupted that many began to see very strange and disturbing dreams. They were before, but on self-isolation became more frequent at times. According to people, they see terrible wars, the murders of their relatives, the experiments that doctors conduct on them, and every day the number of stories increases. In quarantine, people began to analyze their dreams more often and carefully. Aaron Gravely from San Francisco has created a website. idreamofcovid.com is the website.
Gosh.
It's idreamofcovid.com, where she posts all of her strange dreams, as well as the dreams of other people who turned out to be very strange, or their dreams. I don't know that wasn't written very well, but I think they mean the dreams of other people that are really strange. Many of these visions are anxiety dreams, being chased, being unexpectedly nude, being unaware of, unable to locate something you desperately need to find. Some are pure garbled nonsense. Others grapple with particular terrors of the coof pandemic, like unscrupulous doctors tricking people into taking hydroxychloroquine, or unsuspecting people catching the virus from pages of a book.
Why would a doctor trick you into taking that? I mean,
These are dreams, so they don't always make sense. When I was a kid, I dreamed Frankenstein and Dracula were making toast. So it doesn't really have a logic to it. Sometimes dreams are just that. But anyway, regardless of content, almost all posts about coof dreams wind up in the same place. And that says weird. Commenters say, I'm having dreams too. Okay, Twitter, this isn't really well written, so I apologize. Twitter teams with thousands more hashtag pandemic dreams, and another one, and so does Reddit. Experts noted that the nightmares are a complete normal reaction of the body to stress. It is at night that the brain processes the information received during the day, which is why such dreams arise. Also, there's a theory that supposedly in a dream, in a safe environment, a person experiences various scenarios of the future. And that's how it ends. So, kind of abruptly, rather.
But we've talked about this before. There was a news article you read about, odd dreams and things like that due to the coof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's people finally stopping and slowing down and paying attention to their actual surroundings.
Right.
And they're noticing these things. They're noticing the sounds of the house. They're noticing that what the house does during the day, before, because they're, leaving at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't hear the house warming up, during the day and creaking and popping or this, that, or the other. Oh my God, what's that bird? It's got to be a Bigfoot. It's a bird, because you never hear it. Just because you never hear it doesn't mean it's a Bigfoot. However, I digress. And it mentioned dreams before, and it's not surprising that people under the stress and the lack of oxygen from certain practices,
Sure.
Don't wear your mask to bed, people.
And just for the record, you're probably okay in your car, too. All we need is oxygen-deprived people driving around.
Somebody told me today that wearing those masks don't reduce your oxygen intake.
Oh.
That your oxygen levels remain the same even though you're breathing CO2.
I don't know much about it. I assume that you'd be breathing more CO2, but then again, the air we breathe out still has a lot of oxygen in it.
Well, we only use, I think it was like 16% of the oxygen that we actually inhale. We only use like 16% of it. So there is actually a lot of it. So, but anyhow.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm no expert, but very strange. How about this, Don?
What's that?
There's a woman claims that she's a real vampire.
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
Oh,
I always wanted to do shows on vampires. I think that the idea that there are these other types of people out there is really intriguing. I assume that the vampire lore is what became of people encountering these black-eyed people throughout history. Black-eyed children, of course, are the most popular now, but the storylines with those, of course, is almost verbatim our modern mythology of vampires.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Can't come in unless you invite them, and when they're invited in, you get sickly and have problems, and some people die, and that's pretty much the common legends of the vampire. Now, some people have allegedly witnessed vampires, they say. However, those stories are so hard to find.
Right.
And I imagine that if there are any, I don't know that there are. I guess it's kind of a fantastical idea, but I guess all of the paranormal is as well. So if there's one, I guess I'm open to the idea that there's more things out there.
Sure.
But I looked and looked and looked and looked and have hunted and hunted, and I can't find much to build a show around. I've tried, but the best that I found was all the counterculture, the whole dressing in black, and people actually drinking blood because they say they like it, and whatever. But it's a choice kind of thing. It's not a supernatural creature,
Right.
And so I couldn't find many or hardly any stories of people saying that they've met a vampire. And I suppose maybe because the people that meet him don't
tend to live to.
they don't get to tell stories. So I mean that might be part of it, but I don't know. I find the whole vampire idea incredibly interesting. And I remember there was, I don't know if it was Monsters and Mysteries in America, where a woman in New Orleans swears that she had an encounter with what she believed was a vampire. And I don't know, maybe there are some still out there. And if there are, New Orleans is probably where they are.
That's where Louis and what's his name from? Okay, Interview with the Vampire. It was in. New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, that's right. But I just think it's fascinating that there could be these supernatural beings living within and around us.
Right.
But anyway, this is a real vampire. The girl drank human blood and claims to be 600 years old. So I don't probably believe that she is, but let's go into the story. Excuse me. It says Lilith Vampire is confident that she is already 600 years old. She tries not to appear in the sunlight and used to drink human blood. Lilith Vampire tries to make her skin as light as possible and does not go out into the sunlight. She is popular today as Lady of Darkness and tells everyone that she has been living for 600 vampire years. What is that, like dog years? At the moment, the girl works in London and spends all of her free time on her favorite hobby. I can work during the day and even go out, but it drains my body. I feel best after the sun disappears, says Lilith. The girl used to drink human blood and often changes into horror movie characters. What? And often changes into horror movie characters? Lilith started doing this as early as 18 years after she watched a movie about Dracula. Oh, God. I was just in love with this incredible, mysterious image of Count Dracula, whom I saw as a child. Over time, I fell in love with everything that related to vampires, and so I started looking for people who think the same way I do, says a girl who recently turned 27 human years old. Lilith began to study vampire habits and their lives. She even experimented with cocktails made from human blood. Oh, God. And of course, she did not attack anyone and only did it with the consent of other people. Many may consider such rituals are related to darkness and evil, but Lilith herself believes that vampires may well be the force of good.
With the name Lilith?
The appearance of the girl, which is very much like a vampire, had a positive impact on her career. Currently, her Instagram has 150,000 subscribers, and many well-known companies offer her cooperation. I don't know what that means. Okay.
Wow. Guess what? I'm a vampire, everybody. I've been around for 1,200 years, and I need to go viral.
Yes. I guess so. I guess that's one way to do it. But she is easy on the eyes. I'll say that. I mean, she's.
It's because you can't see her.
Well, you can. I'll put a picture of her up on the. No, I know, but that's only the reflection anyway, even for vampires. But here's of course Lilith vampire. She's an attractive lady. I mean, but
Sure.
I guess there you have it. She's claims she's a vampire.
So did it say why she stopped drinking human blood? Did she become a vegan?
No, I don't think vampires can be vegan, can they?
I
don't
would
think that
imagine
works.
not.
I don't think that works.
I
but
mean, they consider humans, just another
livestock.
animal. Yeah, exactly.
Livestock. Well, that's the Hollywoodized version.
Well,
Do you got something to read?
oh, you need to take a break. You got to give
Yeah.
that sexy voice a little.
No, I need to. Yeah, I need to give it a rest here.
Very good. Okay, yeah, I got something I can read.
Okay.
What time is it? It is. Wow, it's 8 o'clock. Almost 8 o'clock. 3 minutes still. 3 minutes. Okay, this is called Impossible Reincarnation. Everyone on my father's side, always said I reminded them, in a way, of their mother, my Nana, Shirley. We were living in Hawera, 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 a small town in New Zealand. I was 7, and in a week I would have been turning 8. I would have been turning 8. She didn't turn 8. I was so excited, but I couldn't see any presents around yet. I remember asking my mom, and she said that they were at the new house. 9 years after we have moved into our gorgeous and enormous house, the oldest and largest in our small town of Kapogna in New Zealand, I was 15 and still am. Okay, so this was written when she was 15. In the attic was a box of things that belonged to Nana Shirley until she had died of cancer in October of 1995, when I was 1. I don't remember at all, though apparently I act exactly like her. Going through the box, my father pulled out a clock. I was automatically drawn to the clock, even though I had no religious beliefs. You'll see what I mean. So apparently, okay, so I don't have the picture, but it's a picture of, looks like Joseph and Mary and Jesus, and then it's got a little clock on it. So it's like a clock, a clock within a picture. I put a fresh battery in and hung it on my wall. It was October when the song "Walking Back to Happiness" by Helen Shapiro popped on the radio, and I was singing along without noticing. My dad asked how I knew the song, but I was about to ask myself the same thing. You sing it just like your grandmother, as you do whistle out of tune, he said. That night I heard singing the same song. This time I heard what sounded like my own voice. I checked all the rooms. Nobody had their stereos on. I listened to the clock ticking faster and faster until it slowed down and quietly ticked until its battery went flat. I woke in the morning completely forgetting the night before. I checked the clock. It said 6 past 6. It didn't seem right, but I remembered it went flat the night before. I changed the battery and continued with the rest of the day as normal. At night, the singing again, then the clock. I checked in the morning and it read 6 past 6. I shrugged it off and decided that it was just me forgetting to change the battery. The next night, no singing, not even the ticking clock. I could have sworn I changed it. In the morning, I checked it and it was ticking. The next night, I heard the singing and the ticking, and in the morning, I checked the clock, 6 past 6. That day, I heard 14 years the other night was your grandmother's death anniversary. I had to ask what time she died. Dad said a few minutes after 6 in the morning, which is when I realized that these experiences had something to do with my Nana. I haven't put new batteries in the clock since those nights, and I haven't heard the singing. I ask her sometimes if she would protect me from fears of something being there that's not supposed to. Our house, being so old, has a lot of history, and more than its fair share of people have died there. I think, she answered. I think she knows I'm scared to even hear about the paranormal happening in our house. I ask her quietly in my head every night, and I tell her good night and how much I love her if she's still alive. How much I would love her if she was still alive. How much I would love her if she was still alive. Sorry. This story may sound pathetic, not even worth the time, but it means a lot to me. And if any one of you have any experiences, share them. So that's interesting. So she put a new battery in. She hears singing. The clock goes dead. It's minutes past 6. The next morning, it's dead. You know, that kind of thing. But when she doesn't put the battery in, she doesn't hear the singing. Of course, the ticking and the. But when she wakes up in the morning, the clock's ticking. That's kind of weird. But there you go. Impossible reincarnation.
That's wild.
Hmm.
Very wild.
Well, you know, that brings up the question, you know, do our loved ones from the past watch over us during, you know, well, watch over us as we sleep or as we go through our days, you know, you know, the idea of the guardian angels, if you will.
Yeah. That's kind of. I've got a couple of cool stories that I'm
Yeah.
gonna read, but those are. I think they do. I think our loved ones do watch over us.
Mm.
I do. No, I got one. I'm hoping that there's. It's a video. Okay, maybe we can show it. I don't know how long is it. It looks like it's from the news thing, but let me pull this up and we'll see. We'll see here just a second.
See. He's working on it, y'all.
I'm working on it, ladies and gentlemen, but I think my voice is a little better, at least for now. All right, so hey, Nubis. He's in the studio. So far, he's laying good, but he's starting to move around now. So we'll see where this ends up.
Well, he was over at the door just a bit ago. So.
Oh, was he?
Oh yeah, but he was just sitting there looking at it. He didn't. Oh, here he is.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
He might want to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to let him.
He's going to need to get sprung. All right. I found one here, and this is something I'd seen pop up on social media before, but we never covered it on the show here. So I want to go into this a little bit. It's apparently there's a video that does the Vatican show a hologram instead of the real Pope. I don't know. That's interesting, and I'm going to have to look at this and see if we can check it out. But it says, on April 13th, a very strange video spread in social networks of Italy and then around the world, which depicts the speech of the Pope. Sorry, hold on. Sorry. As you can see in the footage, during the official broadcast of Pope Francis' speech, he went out on the balcony, greeted, turned around and walked slowly, and then disappeared literally. Special technologies for creating holograms have been around for quite some time, and if so, why did the Vatican begin to show tricks to viewers directly during the live broadcast? If this is a situation and several versions were put forward at once, the most logical assumption is that he would have serious breathing problems and even that he would be dead. What?
What?
I don't know. As in this situation, several versions were put forward at once. The most logical assumption is that he would have serious breathing problems and even that he would be dead. What? I don't understand what the hell I'm reading here. If so, why does the Vatican hide it? Another question, can we trust the Vatican after what we see? Now, we can only guess what is really happening in the Vatican and what it actually was on the video. I'm going to try to, let me see if I can do this. I don't want to have any noise here. Let's see if we can find, I think this would be okay. Dun, 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 dun. I'm just screening it here, folks. This guy's face is on it, though. I don't want to use that. Ooh, he did. It really did. I got to see if I can find a better version of that. What news was that?
Channel 3 News somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the
Do you
call
see if you
sign.
can find that?
Yeah.
I want to find a version without this person's face on it because I don't want to use that and end up in some kind of trouble. But I think if it's news, we can use it as long as it's muted. But yeah, and just watching the video, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Huh. I'm waiting to see if his face disappeared. No, he keeps his face up all the time. So during this whole video, it does. It's like he turns around and is walking away, and all of a sudden is gone, like just gone from the window. It's like not a good transition. Not a good transition. So if you can find one that's just the video, I will. I'll just show that little part of the clip. It's strange. It doesn't look right, but now the footage could have had a lapse in it. I don't know. Was it supposed to be live? That I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was supposed to be alive.
Okay.
The video in the claims is not part of a live broadcast, but part of a news report by WWMT.
Oh, okay. So you got it right there?
No, I don't have it, but let's do this.
We're still looking, ladies and gentlemen, so we can bring you the best portal we can, because this is interesting. And if you haven't seen it, we're going to try to show it to you here. If we can't find it, I would just ask that if you want to learn more about it, go check out that clip. It is pretty interesting. I mean, it literally just pops and is gone. Very strange. Oh, this is a long, long thing. Okay. Let's see. There it is, coming out to the window. I'm just watching it here quickly.
Yeah, but I just kind of saw that one. I had to.
Okay. Well, if we can find the actual footage of it, we will show you without that person's face on it. But that is weird. That Pope has no business disappearing like that.
Yes. What is he thinking?
Unless there's been unless he got promoted, and is not just a man anymore. I'm not sure how that works. I'll tell you what, though. I'm going to go use the loo, and we're going to take a quick break. So let me get to the loo, and I'll be right back with more of the fun-filled Paranormal Portal. Sound good to you, Don?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to find this clip, and we'll be back in just a couple shakes of a badger's tail.
Let's just let that one fall down.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across their lies keep falling apart. But I'm not talking yet. I'm not talking yet. With my silence, I am not a stupid toy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Nice break. Hope you enjoyed it. God, you know what? I didn't even get a water.
Yeah, I'll run.
Will you? Oh, thank you, brother. No. Sorry, folks, for my lack of planning. 2 flicks of a badger's tail. Did anybody recognize that? Anybody recognize that at all? As I left, I said I'll be back in like 2 shakes of a badger's tail. It's from the movie Legend. Tom Cruise and Tim Curry and all that lovely production. I don't know. It just came to my head, so I thought I'd quote it. I love that movie. It brings back a lot of memories.
Luna was sexy.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, that's a lot creepy. All right. So we are back at it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. That's one of the beauties of the Wednesday show is we don't have to take breaks. However, sometimes we still need to. It's just the function of biology. And hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Thank you to everybody that's here, all 54 of you. Woo!
How many thumbs down?
I don't know.
How many thumbs down?
I can only
see
I only
2.
see the likes. So
I see 2.
on my screen. I only see the likes. But we did get up to, for a while, we were up to 69. What happened there?
That would be June 9th.
June 9th?
69, 6-9.
Well,
6-9. June
also
6.
the year I was
9,
born.
6.
It was. That's my aged state, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so I'm going to copy this and send it to you via. You'll just have to find, center on the video and then just play the 6. It's just a 6-second video.
Yeah.
But it shows enough of it that
Okay.
It'll definitely give the idea of what we're talking about.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you for that. So we're going to actually put that video up, or at least a segment of that up, because it is bizarre. Now, it could just be some editing that was done at this news station for whatever reason. Maybe something flew in front of their camera shot and they just cut it out. I mean, there's lots of reasons. It could be just normal, but there's also reasons why it couldn't be. Oh, it actually came right up to it, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So somebody says, I just made this burner account to post this.
Sweet.
He filmed it on his local news. So I guess he's already misusing it. So we're just going to misuse his misused video. And
Presented as facts.
Yep. Which one? This one?
That one. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best one.
All right. Let me wait till it gets.
Of course, it
back.
has to have a big giant circle in the middle of it. So, it's just the way it is.
Absolutely. All right. So it's got a nice circle, so you can't possibly miss the action. I'm joking, of course. Here's the video in question, ladies and gentlemen. It's just 6 seconds long, so we should be within fair use anyway. But this is the video of the Pope up in the balcony here, and watch what happens. The circles where you got to pay attention.
If you didn't know. And
all right, here we go. And here's the video. Play.
And there's the Pope.
There's
and the Pope goes poof.
Now you see him. Now you don't, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try that again. There he is. Boom. He phased out like a wizard.
He's a wizard, Harry.
Wow, that is really spooky, though.
I am finding some stories that say it was a glitch in
The Matrix? Or in their
filming.
editing?
There's apparently another piece to it.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm not really finding much.
Well, there you have it. Now you've seen it. It's now a part of the show. And I don't know. Think of it what you will. It is what it is, but I think it's cool. It's strange, right? It's strange.
It is, yeah.
So
when you see things like that, it really calls into question. Are we living in a hologram? Are we living in a computer simulation?
Well, there is that. I mean, yeah, and
Or
all
is
of
he
these.
just a wizard?
So here's the thing: if we're living in a simulation, then all of this stuff is just glitches. Now, I can see the attraction of thinking like that, like this is a simulation because we're probably plugged in somewhere, just like the Matrix, and living this simulated existence. Now, here's the thing, though, and this is me. This is just me talking, but I don't know if it's just a simulation. And these are just the accidents or where things kind of fall apart. Or the framework has a hiccup or whatever. Because I really believe that things like the paranormal are the breadcrumbs, and they are demonstrating so much more that's going on around us. Like what we're perceiving is just a small fraction of the whole of reality as we are living in. We just can't perceive it, or don't perceive it or whatever. I think we can, and we do at moments. Like there's whenever you're experiencing precognition, or if you're getting a little idea something's coming, you there have no way of knowing something's coming, but you know something's coming. Like that's got to be an inkling of what you're capable of. It's not just where things got weird and oh, it's just coincidence, and yeah, you were coincidentally right, something bad was coming. Or oh, you feel like something good's coming. Oh, something good happened. Oh, that was a coincidence. I think it's that it may be a simulation, but it's not. This stuff isn't where it's breaking down or there's as they say glitches in the matrix. I think it's these are the clues. These are the cues to tell us we're capable of so much more, and that's the beauty of it. And I think it's very real. Like it's. I don't know that it affects us in a grand scale. Like so, we have tough lives, and go and we're done, and I think it's like waking up from a dream when we're done on this place. It's like waking up, and therefore, yeah, it is kind of a simulation, because our true self isn't directly affected by these things like our body is. We experience things with our body, and it becomes the whole of our existence. Like, oh, I broke my arm a bunch of times, now it doesn't work right, but when this journey's over, hey, I'm doing everything. How many times have people like confined to wheelchairs, and people experience the spirit of their loved one that passed that was confined to a wheelchair, and it's the person's walking and smiling and and doing just great. And so I don't know. I guess I don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess my point is that I don't like the term glitches in the matrix, because that just makes it seem like it's something screwed up. Just something went wrong.
Right.
And that's not profound. then it just becomes normal, just kind of screw up errors. But if it's something profound and demonstrating possibility, then we have something to shoot for. Then we have something to aim for. Learning how to do these things, learning how to become aware of that bigger picture and that bigger truth. And I think that's what spirituality is, So just my 2 cents. So
Yeah, absolutely.
what if we were given a simulation to protect us or blind us to what's really out there, since we haven't learned to work with others well for some time? Well, I think that this is meant to teach us. I really do. I think that this is meant to bring us to an understanding and to bring us to a more complete and holistic way of being. I think that we're here for a purpose, and maybe we're just acting out a play, but it does matter. It's not like, I think that's the danger of an idea of like a simulation is that, well, it's just a game, screw it. It doesn't matter, but it does matter. It does matter, because I think this is all about us emerging and into ourselves. Like this is a school or classroom, or we're trying to learn to realize ourselves, and we're doing it through these lives and these experiences. And you're right, certainly people aren't doing a great job sometimes, but we can do a great job. We're all capable of doing much better. It's just that a lot of people right now, I think, are just really lost and confused and don't know what to do.
True.
So that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I agree, Taz. Thank you for that thought. But I just think it does mean something. This isn't just some escape or somebody pinning us away from ourselves. I think that this means something, and that we're becoming ourselves through these experiences. So, and it seems weird, like, well, if we are ourselves, why would we dumb ourselves down to live here and then just to emerge to be more of ourselves? It's kind of simplistic way of explaining it, but I don't know how to explain it any different than that right now.
Right. You know, Paisley a while ago had Judge and I can't remember her name. I'm so bad. Cinda.
Okay.
Um, um, they are hypnotherapists over in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
Blooming Lotus um, hypnotic therapy, something like that. Blooming Lotus in Spokane. Anyhow, they were talking about that before we come to the earth as physical beings, we are spiritual beings, and they said that we decide before we come to earth to imbue a physical body that we pick lessons that we are to learn, kind of like the karmic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is to learn these lessons to evolve into the higher being.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, I'm kind of boiling it down. So,
Excuse me.
So the idea of us coming here to learn something is I'm on par with that.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently we get to choose what we get to do, and sometimes we have soul groups that we belong to, and then something will happen, and we no longer belong to those soul groups anymore, and we have to find a new group. It's you got to watch it. When she was talking to them, it was really interesting to listen to about how we choose when we come down. How we die. Is
Mm-hmm.
part of the agreement or the consensus of what you come to. And all of this is all planned out before you manifest the body. So interesting thoughts there. Sorry,
No,
I'm
I think
way off there.
no. That's pretty much the new age line that people have been talking about for a long time. And new age is just the term new age is really misleading because
Yes.
it's really all ancient ideas that are just being repopularized,
Rediscovered.
Yeah. reinvigorated,
Yes.
and sometimes with all new terminology and stuff. And I don't disagree with that, but I think that's it's not wrong, but I don't know if it's completely right either.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know, and I'm just a person. How the hell can I know, right? But
Right.
these are just my thoughts, and since we got microphones, we get to share those.
It's our thoughts.
That's the beauty of having your own show, ladies and gentlemen. You get to fill it with whatever you want. But no, I think it's cool, and I think that those people are right, for the most part. It does seem kind of simplistic way of talking about it, but it might be absolutely right. So I found another die-off happening. We were just talking about the birds a bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently there was a bat die-off over in Israel. Says the story began on March 21st when a man named Ad Marskowitz walked around the large city park, Gan Lumi Park, and stumbled upon a large number of dead bats. To this day, no one can say why the bats died. Some of the bats had already begun to decompose, while others looked completely fresh. Outwardly, all of the bats seemed completely healthy. There were no traces of blood, ulcers on the body, etc. Their pose was as if they were hanging on a branch and then just fell. Moskowitz decided to publish a post on social media attaching several pictures to find out the fate of the bats. Over the next few days, it turns out that this incident was not the only one, and that in Israel and some other places, people also saw dead bats on the ground. Many Facebook commentators are convinced that 5G technology is to blame. There's another one. Yeah, that's another good point. Rabbi Avraham Ariel Trugman, director of Or Kaddish Torah Institute, believes that natural phenomena like these connect the end times with creation and act as signposts about man's role in relation to nature. Man is part of nature, so Moshiach will necessarily include nature and be manifest in nature, Rabbi Trugman told Breaking Israel News. None of these natural occurrences happen in a vacuum. We think we exist in a sanitized technological reality, but we live in a natural world. Man has a huge impact on nature. Wow. And this impact has been growing in the last 100 years. If we lose track of our connection with nature, it will come back and bite us. We're required to connect to nature as part of our relationship with Hashem. Rabbi Tarugman said, there are more extinctions, more fires. These are signs of the times to fix our relationship with God. Everything we will have to come back into balance. Wow, that's like we already talked about this story.
Yep.
For that, the earth is withered. Everything that dwells on it languishes. Beasts of the field, birds of the sky, even the fish of the sea perish. That's from Hosea 4:3. Everything is holistically connected through God. If we see birds falling out of the sky, we should understand that if the environment gets too much out of kilter, then the whole world is in danger of falling apart, said Rabbi Trugman. Well, there you go. That's really funny because we already had this discussion.
Yeah, we had that exact same one.
Yep, and I just found an article to apparently substantiate that discussion. I just found it while Don was reading, so it's not like I had pre-read this. So that's serendipity right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's interesting, very interesting.
You know, it's always nice to have, you know, something to bounce back your idea and go, yeah, see, I'm not strange, totally
Well,
strange.
Exactly. The weird part is that it probably looks like I already read this ahead of time and just grabbed some of those points to make, but I just found it. I literally just found it. So that's, like I say, the portal writes itself. We just show up and turn on the lights.
We just try to interpret what we can come across.
What was I think? I was thinking of something
What
else.
was I thinking?
So I was thinking something else. As I was reading this, when you're thinking of possible causations, and what I wondered is, like, you know, we talk about these portals opening and closing and things like that happening, and you know, the old pterodactyl in the skies, you know, modern skies kind of thing, which is very, very bizarre and weird and hard to understand. But then I was thinking, what if when those portals open, these animals, these birds, these fish, these bats, what if they're just kind of in the wake of that, and that's what's killing them? Like, this huge rift will open, and then these things fall dead because, you know, for no other reason than they were just in the wrong place, wrong time. What if that's possible?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who think that 5G is to blame for a lot of what's going on, you know, and there's, you know, we've already mentioned this. We didn't mention 5G, but, you know,
Right.
Doppler and things like that.
Sure.
You know, that's quite possible. I mean, you know, because we are destroying, you know, we are destroying nature, you
Right.
know, as you brought up with the idea of, like, animals losing their natural habitats and things like that, you know. So, I mean, it could just be one part of what's going on. Certainly, it's certainly a part of what's going on. Sonar, you know, things like that. We talked about HARP and maybe even CERN having you know, causations for
Oh, we
it.
didn't mention CERN, but
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, that's a
So-
good point. That's a good point. God knows what they're opening up over there. They're not open now, though, are they? I don't think CERN will be back in business for a few more years again.
I'm not following that. I don't know.
Yeah, I know they were shut down. At least now, I believe they're shut down. But we're back. Chat time. What happened? Taz, were we gone? No, I've only been showing an excellent connection, so I'm just seeing a piece of chat.
Oh, no, I think Taz is back.
Oh, okay.
Taz is back. So,
All right.
Mr. Richards in chat says, astrophysicists just found the light spectrum that shows we each, every person on Earth has a beam of energy connecting us to a singular point in space. How much more proof of God do you need? Well, okay. You know, and then Duke says something about that's just the silver cord. Now, you've seen the movie Donnie Darko, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So part of what goes on in that is he comes to discover that we have this life force that comes, you know, that precedes us, and part of that life force also is left in the past.
Okay.
And so it connects everything, you know. So it's like that whole It's like the whole, the thread of life, the loom of life kind of thing. This is your thread that follows you through your life, and the loom of fate. That's what it is. And you have a string that goes through you that connects you to that loom. And when your cord gets cut, that's the end of it. So
Right. Well,
that's just
interesting.
one way to think of it. Sir.
That is now. Now, I would say that I don't think God is somewhere out in space. I think God is the energy that imbues and surrounds us, and it's the divine, and I think that there isn't a place, as far as we understand it, that this divine just resides. I think that the divine is everywhere. It is the fabric of creation, of the universe and world that we live in, and I don't think that takes away the beauty of it. I don't
Right.
think that I'm not saying that it's just some force. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that what God is so far beyond what we're capable of understanding. I think that, yeah, that's weird that there's points of our light going out into space or energy
Sure.
or whatever, and I would be curious to find out more about that. But I don't think that God is somewhere that's separate from us. I don't think that that's how it works, in my opinion. But that's just my 2 cents. I think that the divine is everywhere and is I don't know. Anyway, I don't want the show to become a philosophical debate by all means, but I do appreciate people sharing those things because I think they're powerful, and we're always open to discuss ideas, for sure. I think that that's beautiful, and that's through that interchange of ideas and discussion. I think we all grow and benefit.
This is how the portal grows.
Yeah, well, it's also how people grow.
True.
And I guess that's one of the things that's kind of become a casualty of our modern age is that people just don't think they can talk anymore. And I think that it's important to continue to talk, and it is to share ideas and share thoughts, and I guess maybe we would find out that we're not that far apart. We just have some extreme points, I guess. But anyway, let's continue here.
Sweetly.
All right. Oh God, this one I thought was neat, and here you go here you go, Richard. This one's for you. Here's a story that's again from Animalian. It's from March 13th, 2020, and it says the Bible somehow survived in a pickup burned to the ground. On March 8th in Deer Park, Texas, the car in which the Bible was located was completely burned out. The car belonged to a local woman, Trina Carr. According to the American, she was riding, I guess this may not be at a U.S. site, huh? According to the American, she was riding in her pickup truck when she suddenly sensed that something was wrong. After a moment, she saw smoke, so she decided to call the fire department right away. The car caught fire, the engine compartment and the interior were completely melted. However, as it turned out, some things survived: the Bible and the notebook. Interestingly, the Bible lay on the dashboard, so it is amazing how it generally remained intact. This is nothing but divine intervention, Trina believes. The cover of the Holy Book was slightly damaged, but overall it turned out to be untouched by the fire. No one can explain how this happened. That is beautiful. That's really cool. Powerful stuff, huh?
It is. It really gives you, pause and makes you stop and think, of these many divine wonders that may, surround us at all times, whether you call it God or whatever your terminology is. It could be a headed cabbage. I don't care, but as long as you have that spirituality around it, that these things mean things to us.
Right.
And so sometimes it's certain things are saved from the ravages of time, I imagine.
Yep.
By your interdiction, your interaction with it.
Right. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that's powerful. Powerful stuff. Let's see. Let's see, where was I now? I've got other things here that I did want to discuss, but I got to find out where they are, Don.
Where are they? Where could they be?
Oh, what? Wow. This is kind of wild. This is cosmological. I just stumbled on this one now. It says, this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com.
Wow.
Mystery as massive star simply disappears. Huh. Astronomers are left scratching their heads after a huge star they were observing mysteriously vanished. A whole star vanished, ladies and gentlemen. Situated 75 million light years away, the Kinman dwarf galaxy, the star is what is known as a luminous blue variable and is an incredible 2.5 million times brighter than the sun. If it had been the subject of study for over a decade until in 2019, when PhD student Andrew Allen of Trinity College, Dublin, and colleagues who were planning to make new observations using the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, VLD, discovered to their surprise that the star had completely disappeared. Astronomers speculate that the star may have collapsed into a black hole. However, this is generally unheard of since such an event should have been accompanied by a supernova explosion. We were surprised to find out the star had disappeared, said Allen. It would be highly unusual for such a massive star to disappear without producing a bright supernova explosion. It's also possible that the star has transformed into a less luminous star, partially hidden by dust, which would also explain why it seems to have disappeared from view. Either way, it's a mystery that astronomers will be actually working to solve over the coming years. We may have detected one of the most massive stars in the local universe going gently into the night, said study co-author Josie Grow. That's interesting. A huge star just gone. Now, even if it was even if it was like a black hole moving in and sucking it in, you would have that whole. It didn't just happen like that.
The neighborhood,
Yeah, it would be like you'd see it coming, or you could observe other things getting sucked into a big black hole. Now, if it became a black hole, yeah, as far as I understand it, I'm not an astronomer, so don't, or an astrophysicist, but as I understand it, yeah, the sun goes into supernova, and then will collapse into a black hole after that, if indeed it's going to happen. Yeah, that's strange. A whole star just gone. And they were going to be studying it too, Don.
Well, they were. Plans have recently changed, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
But when you think of the black holes, supposedly the gravity pull is so great that nothing, including light, can escape it. So you would imagine that, and you watch some of these apocalyptic movies, about, well, what if the Earth is swallowed by a black hole, and it shows, the atmosphere being siphoned off, and then all of the, the trees and the water and the
Sure.
people, and and then it starts breaking the crust up, and the crust goes away, and then it's like the inside of an M&M, kind of soft and squishy, and then it gets sucked away, into naked singularity. Which means that you've been taken down to a stream of atoms, and that's the way Neil deGrasse Tyson wants to die, is in naked singularity. I think it's in singularity, I should say, where he's just taken down to a stream of atoms. Well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but but you would think that you would see, the light. You would be able to see 75 million away. You can see the star. But you would think you would see the light being drawn off into nothing, kind of like like you mentioned, So I don't know how anything like that could just disappear.
I don't either.
Now, Mr. Richards in chat was talking about he's got 7 minutes of footage of
cool.
two. He said, I believe, and I'm just kind of quick quoting what I quickly read. 2 stars they kind of got super crazy bright, and then they just started blinking for like hours, I think he said. After that, and then they just disappeared.
Very cool. Very cool, Dick Richards. I appreciate it. He said there's hundreds.
Mr. Richards too.
Well, yeah, it might be Mr. There's hundreds of examples for the last 2 years of disappearing stars. Look it up.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first I've heard of. As I said, I'm not an astronomer, nor do I aspire to be one. But to have a star just disappear to me seems like a big deal. But again, if it happens all the time, then I guess I'm just not very well informed. But thank you for sharing that. That's cool. All right. Here's another one that I found on unexplainedmysteries.com. This is one I had not heard of. And again, I don't know anything about it, but it says lost continent of Zealandia revealed in new maps. Geologists have released a series of detailed maps showing a long lost landmass in the southwest Pacific. Situated in the east of Australia, Zealandia is an entire continent of 5 million square kilometers that sank beneath the waves between 60 and 85 million years ago.
Wow.
Nowadays, Zealandia is pretty much all that's left, or New Zealand is all that's left of this once enormous landmass. That's where Nessie is. However, thanks to modern satellite imaging techniques, it has finally become possible to begin slowly unraveling the shape and scale of this genuine lost world for the first time. Now, the team behind GNS Science, the New Zealand-based research group, has released a number of highly detailed new maps showing the hidden continent in all its glory. We've made these maps to provide an accurate, complete, and up-to-date picture of the geology of New Zealand and Southwest Pacific area, better than we have ever had before, said geologist Nick Mortimer. Their value is that they provide a fresh context in which to explain and understand the setting of New Zealand's volcanoes, plate boundary, and sedimentary basins. Perhaps the most intriguing of the new maps is the bathymetric map pictured above, which shows the shape of the ocean floor, and in doing so, to highlight the sheer size of Zealandia. It's incredible to imagine what this long-lost continent may have been like when it was above the water. It says we can check out the maps here, so let me pull this up. I'm just curious because I find this very interesting. I guess I don't really know what I'm looking at here, but it looks pretty huge. Let's see. Put it up here. There you go. This is Explore Zealandia. And this is data.gns.cri.nz. And then a whole lot more after that. But very interesting. There's, I guess this whole thing would have been Zealandia, right?
No,
Does that sound right?
I have no clue.
I don't know. I don't want to go through a big tour here, but it looks pretty wild. Okay. Because I think this is just New Zealand now as we understand it, right? I'm a little geographically challenged myself. But.
Me too.
All right, never mind. But I thought it was cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I think that's kind of fun because it could, well, geez, Louise, because it could demonstrate understanding of things like Atlantis maybe a little better.
Well, in the land of Mu.
The land of Mu?
Mu.
Mu. Where was Mu? I remember
That area.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Well, maybe it wasn't real paranormal, but I thought it was interesting all the same. Let me see what else I can pull up here, Don. Tough crowd. We only got 15 minutes left. Can you believe that?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah, because I'm fading.
You're fading?
Yeah, I'm fading.
Don's fading,
See,
everybody.
I'm kind of melting
Group
into the
hug.
chair. Just kind of melting into the chair. I'm sorry. I need to sit up some more. There we go.
All right. Well, let's see what else I got here. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm trying to find something that I had not read previously.
Well, I just happen to have something I can read.
Oh, please do.
All right. So, let's see what this says. So, this is unusual and impossible movements. I've been really busy the past few months taking photos for requests of findagrave.com and haven't had an opportunity to write more of my experiences from my role as a funeral director and embalmer, particularly the latter role. Those who are familiar with my previous stories know that I have been in that role for well over 30 years and have become a little passive to events of the supernatural nature within the walls of my funeral homes and or even cemeteries. Occasionally an event will occur that causes one of those moments. One such event occurred about 8 years ago. I had taken into the funeral home's care an elderly lady. I'd say somewhere around her mid-80s. I had received permission from the family when I picked her up from her place of death to proceed with the embalming. Now, to help with a little better understanding of an embalming oddity, if a decedent has been placed in refrigeration for any length of time, a cold causes a compromise of the cellular structure in such a way that, regardless of how thorough the embalming process, the decedent will not firm up, but will remain flaccid, even though through this is morbid, even though thoroughly embalmed, embalming shortly after death without refrigeration causes the decedent to become very firm to the point that it's difficult to move their limbs very much. My usual practice is to place the left hand over the right so as to allow the wedding band to show if they were married. Anyway, the next afternoon I was preparing the lady to be dressed and casketed. Yeah. As was my usual practice, I placed a towel over her hands and used them as a resting place to steady my elbows while I placed lipstick on with a small brush. To say that I was startled when she switched her right hand to the top position directly beneath my elbow is an understatement. I removed the towel to confirm that she had indeed switched her hands, but how? I still cannot discern. She had been embalmed for over 24 hours. A day or so later, there was another embalmer with me in the prep room, and we both were embalming new cases. The discussion turned to me sharing with him about the lady switching her hands, as he shared his thoughts about the hand switch and mentioned that a few odd experiences of his own. A pack of unopened plastic trays was literally thrown across the room from atop a storage locker.
Oh, man.
We both stopped our task to investigate and just look at each other like WTF. There was absolutely no other person in the prep room, and the plastic trays didn't just fall. They were thrown from the top of the locker in a straight line trajectory and landed a good 20 feet from the locker. A minute or so later, we received... It took them a minute to gather themselves. A minute or so later to retrieve the trays, place them back on the locker, and return to our tasks. Never to mention the event again. The trays remained there for months until they were opened and then used.
Wow.
So he's kind of leaning on her hands, putting lipstick on her, and her hands switch from the left hand on top to the right hand on top, while underneath his elbow.
Wow. That's all kinds of weird.
Yeah,
That's a job that I could just never do.
Yeah,
No, I couldn't. I would be talk people into cremation all day long. Like, you should probably just choose cremation. I don't know, something about that. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. So there's a band called Korn. The lead singer's name is Jonathan Davies.
Sure.
And he's actually a mortician by profession.
Oh, is he really? Yeah. Oh, wow.
So where do you think he draws on some of his inspiration for some of his music?
I thought that, I don't know if this is, I can't even say it for sure because I don't know that there's any truth to it. So I guess I can't say, but I can't imagine that's an easy profession. I gotta say though that they have to be either, no, I can't say that either. I guess it's very good that there's people out there doing that work because it really does people's hearts a lot of good to see their loved ones looking peaceful. And I think that that's an important part of the grieving process is to know at least you can visually look at somebody that you loved and meant everything in your world and look at them like they're resting quietly. And it's like, okay, well, they look happy. And
right.
So my hat's off to them. Believe me, I think
Just be a creepy job.
it would be. I don't know. That's the part. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm really surprised that there aren't more mortician horror stories. Or
Right.
not horror stories, but paranormal stories.
Right. The whole, dead people sitting up thing, that's actually true. It's a gastric gut kind of thing that creates gas, and it's a release of the gas, and their muscles will tense up, their core muscles will tense up, and they'll sit up. It's actually true. And, so there's a lot of creepy things I can imagine, that
Yeah.
things happen. But, hands moving very deliberately, it seemingly very deliberately, switching hands to the right, from left over right to right over left.
Yeah.
That's a little specific. That's something that's just not like an aberrant twitch. That's something that has to be done. Mr. Richards is quite the contributor tonight. He says, "Oh my God, I used to deliver the newspaper to papers to. Oh my God, a guy I used to deliver the newspaper to told me in World War II a ship was sunk by them, and then netted up the bodies. And when he was on guard duty with the bodies, one sat up and spewed gas and water."
Oh.
Um,
Wow.
I lost the rest of it. Where did it go? Okay, and made a crazy sound and laid back down. He ran away screaming and freaked right out. Yes, yes. Bodies do weird things. That actually, yeah, that's a gastric release of.
That's some spirit just being a jerk.
Yeah, it's like,
Watch
watch this.
Watch this, guys. Bet she's not expecting this.
Watch this guy just pee himself.
How many times though do you hear those stories though, where
Yeah.
people are, and I guess it must be psychological mostly, but I have to tell you that even as I've gone to showings of loved ones that passed, you really almost swear you can see them breathing. It's the most bizarre thing, and it's got to be psychosomatic or something. But like or to see the eyelids flicker or a little smile appear on the face, it's like those kind of tricks of the mind just happen, and I don't know. There's got to be something to that. I mean, obviously,
Flashbacks.
right? Well, maybe, might be, but it's just an incredible thing. But I can say that I've witnessed like a smirk on my own. Now there was a story coming out of Indonesia. I'd seen it before. Let me see if I can find it. And it's really creepy. I don't think we've ever covered it before, but let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I got to see if I can find it because it was pretty bizarre. It has to do with an Indonesian.
Oh yes, I just saw that. Yeah,
Looks like the man's like waving or something.
right.
In his caskets, and I believe there's screenshots of it. I hadn't done it.
Oh my gosh, that's creepy in and of itself.
I know if I can find it here it is. Yep, here it is. All right. We'll read this one since we're on the topic, and this is just about as paranormal as you can get. I'll put it up on the screen. This is one from Animalian again. I don't know. Is there any close-ups here? What happens if I do this? Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, well, that's much better.
I don't know. That's okay. Well, maybe you can see something there. It says, let me pull it up on the screen here. It says, on May 5th, 2020, a standard Christian funeral ceremony was held in the Manado Cemetery in northwest Sulawesi, Indonesia, except that a narrow window was made in the coffin in which one could see the clothes of the deceased. When the coffin was lowered into the grave, the dug grave, the priest began to read prayers. Standing next to the family of the deceased, he read, "God said in the book of John, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, he will live even if he is dead." At that very moment, the author of the video was filming the coffin lid, and something was moving there, as if the deceased waved his hand, trying to touch the window. Oh, we're going to have to show this, I think. The author of the video did not immediately notice this. Only later, when he saw this movement in the coffin, he posted the video on social network and it immediately went viral. People wrote that maybe the person was still alive when he was buried or something mystical happened. But some put forward the version that it could be a natural movement of the corpse, which happens to the dead during the decomposition of the body. Gases accumulate in the body, the destruction of the muscle tissue occurs, and therefore the body can change position.
Mm-hmm.
However, what is shown in this video is more like something intentional rather than random hand movement due to decomposition. Unfortunately, the name of the buried person is not yet known, as well as the circumstances under which he died, and whether a posthumous autopsy, thank you, was performed before the funeral. Yeah, let's go for it. Why not?
Sure,
Fair
why not?
use. It's fair use. There's the window. I didn't see anything.
I didn't either.
Oh, yeah, there
Up
it is.
in the top right
Yeah.
corner. Yeah.
Oh, let's check that out
Do it
again.
again. Do it again.
Let's go for big.
Oh,
Oh, that's a hand. That's a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God. Yee. Yep.
It's actually a finger. He's like, hey, I'm not dead. Oh my goodness.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Now you've seen it all. And I don't know what else to say. What's the chat saying?
Duke says my only words of advice on cave diving is don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Mr. Richard says, yeah, he's seen that one. Wonder Woman's got her fingers in her ears and eyes closed, singing la 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 la. So,
well, that's the kind of thing you can't unsee, ladies and gentlemen. So you got that to be thankful for, I guess. Those of you who wanted that. There's a good clip reel of them. All right, but I guess that's going to conclude our journey tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this fun-filled romp
it's over?
through the paranormal. It's 8:58.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how it goes, Don. We
Wow.
talk, and then time just flies.
This flies away.
I hope you guys enjoyed it, though. Thank you to everybody who's here joining us, and thank you for continuing to spread the word about the Paranormal Portal. Remember, our July 4th coupon is still available for the Paranormal Portal store.
ID4 Portal.
ID4 Portal is the coupon code. You'll find the link in the description for our Paranormal Portal Teespring store. You can get a t-shirt, a mug, phone case,
Hoodies,
something.
yeah.
Hoodies. Yep, there's just all kinds of stickers, and there'll be more stuff before you know it. But
And I did put up that new design just last week.
that's right.
Saturday.
The Paranormal Portal podcast
Fresh
t-shirt
and fruity.
is up and is in the site as well. So we love your support. Thank you to everybody who has been so wonderfully helpful to us, and thank you for those of you who are spreading the word. Thank you for those of you who are showing up and liking the videos. Thank you to those of you who are commenting, and we really appreciate it. And I'll be back tomorrow night with the Night Terrors.
Raspberry says we need longer shows.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for enjoying us so much, but I'm almost asleep.
Even during the portal, Don can almost sleep. So. All right, guys, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can.
Cha-Cha, there are leggings just for you.
There are. There are leggings. No, there aren't those, though.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I hope you guys join me. Again, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday through Sunday. There's a portal happening, so join me and keep checking out our podcast. It's out there on all the major players, so check it out. We'd love your support there, too. So
Good night.
good night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Sweet dreams.